I've told you before about 4 steps of grace you must never forget. As you think about grace, 4 things, 4 steps. If they wake you up in the middle of the night, 4 things you should always know about grace. Number 1, grace works repentance in our hearts. Hebrews and chapter 12, the Bible is speaking about falling away from grace, and it's giving the example in verse 16, 17 about how we can fall away from grace. And it talks about Esau. The sign of falling away from grace for Esau was that he did not find a place of repentance. That where there's no repentance, grace has been lost. Okay? First thing is that grace works repentance in your heart. Grace will start to nudge you about that sense of this is wrong, this is sinful, this breaks the heart of God, this is not right. When you start to have that conviction in your heart, it is a working of grace. It doesn't stop there. The second step you should never forget: grace forgives. Number 1, it works repentance. Number 2, it brings forgiveness. Ephesians chapter 2, I believe verse 8, it speaks about how the riches of his grace. You have been saved through faith, and it's not of yourself, it's a gift of God. By the time you read through Ephesians 2, it talks about the riches of his grace that brings forgiveness. In other words, God says that the penalty that was due to this wrong, to this sin, I will not hold it against you. I will forgive you. I would wipe it away off you. So grace does not just give us that sense of I have done wrong. Grace gives us the assurance that the wrong does not count against us. The third step that grace will take you to is that grace will teach you. Grace will not just leave you as a forgiven person. Grace will teach you. Grace will start to teach you how not to do that wrong again. Grace will start to teach you the wisdom steps to take in your life. Grace will start to teach you the conversations you need to have. Grace will start to teach you how to build your life, how to be practical, how to make wise decisions, the relationships to break off, the places not to go. Titus chapter 2 and verse 11, the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men, teaching us, verse 12, teaching us. Any grace that would only forgive you and will not teach you is a wicked grace. Grace will not just forgive you of what you have done wrong, it will teach you how to start to live, that you should deny ungodliness and worldly lust, and you should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present age. Grace will teach you in the context of where you are, of where you stand. Grace will teach you. Grace will put knowledge in your head. Knowledge in your head. It will tell you don't sleep overnight in somebody's house that you are not married to. Grace will tell you what are you doing there after 7 p.m. Any grace that only forgives you of the last time you did it and doesn't teach you about the next time is a wicked grace. It's only setting you up to fail. Grace will tell you, why is there no accountability about your browsing? Why is there no accountability? Grace will teach you. It is not the law. It's we're not under the law, we're under grace. Grace will teach you. Are you hearing me this morning? Don't take me back to the Old Testament. It's New Testament. It will teach you. We're not foolish people as Christians. Then you come back tomorrow and say, God, I'm surprised it happened again. What is surprising you? What is surprising you? Grace will teach you. Are you hearing me this morning? Grace will teach you to be accountable. Grace will teach you, James 5, confess your faults one to another that you will be healed. Grace will teach you that you are not just there alone and there's nothing new under the sun, people. Grace will teach you. But grace will not just teach you and pack knowledge in your head. I know what to do. Oh, hey, you know all those things that you know what to do, but how to do it, the strength to do it, you feel weak. Grace will work repentance. Grace will forgive. Grace will teach. Oh, I'm so grateful. Grace will empower. 2 Corinthians in chapter 12 and from verse 9 into 10, Paul is saying his grace, my grace is sufficient for you. God is speaking, my strength. Did you see that? God is introducing his grace. He says my grace is sufficient for you, and then he says my strength. God says my grace is my strength that is made perfect in weakness. God says my grace is an empowerment. That grace will not just give you head knowledge about what I think I should be doing at this time of my life. Grace will put a righteous audacity and courage and a boldness. Grace will teach you the relationship to walk away from, and boom, grace will give you the strength to break that relationship. Grace will teach you where you should not, and bam, grace will give you the empowerment to do what it's teaching you to do. A picture of grace that is just one of them. Oh, grace just works repentance in my heart. I'm just carrying this guilty thing about everything I've done wrong, and I'm just crying over my sins. That is not a full picture of grace. Grace is not just about the wrong you did. Grace is also about the right that Jesus did, and therefore you are forgiven. Grace will teach you that you are forgiven, and then it will start to teach you how to build your life out of what Jesus has done for you. And as it's teaching you how to build your life out of what Jesus has done for you, it is infusing an empowerment into your soul. Are you hearing me this morning? In the middle of your sleep, don't forget those 4 steps. Repentance, forgiveness, teaching, empowerment.